Good evening, everybody. Mike Geary for the Geek Pride cast on this Sunday evening. With me, we have our usual faces and another guest. We'll start with the usual faces. We've got Peter Ray Allison.
Good evening.
And Mark Canty.
Hola.
And our guest tonight is Matt Hardy.
Hello there.
Not the wrestler.
Yeah, I've never heard that.
I'm sorry. I'm so sorry.
I don't know how much you know about wrestling, but I used to have people follow me around at conventions shouting V1, which is what we used to shout at Matt Hardy, the wrestler.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, yeah. I'm not, obviously, I'm not him.
So Matt, who are you? What do you do? What's your thing?
So I run a small self-publisher, a comic book publisher called Mad Robot Comics. We've been running since 2014, so nearly 7 years now. I self-publish, so I write a lot of my own titles. I publish other people's work. I've also been published by various small press companies, Madius Comics, Broadcast Comics. I've got work coming up next year from Heavy Metal, Marcosia, and a few others I can't talk about at the moment. In a nutshell, I write comic books.
Is there a sort of running theme throughout the comic books, or is it a bit of everything?
Initially, most of the stuff I used to write, we used to put under the term horror comedy. So light-hearted horror type stories. But no, I mean, this year I've done a World War II horror, which was with no comedy, an adaptation of a Sherlock Holmes book as a graphic novel.
Oh, which one?
Say again?
Which one?
Study in Scarlet.
Oh,
So,
I do like Sherlock Holmes.
Yeah. So Study in Scarlet was actually written in Portsmouth. So Arthur Conan Doyle was living in Portsmouth, working as I think he was a dentist. Yeah, the Arthur Conan Doyle Society are going to murder me for getting this wrong, but he was working in Portsmouth, and yeah, his first Sherlock Holmes book was written in Portsmouth. Portsmouth hold the largest collection of Arthur Conan Doyle memorabilia in the country, and Portsmouth Council approached me and said, would I adapt Study in Scarlet into a 70-page graphic novel for children. So I don't know if do you know the book at all?
Yep. Yeah,
it's not really suitable for children. It's nasty and bloody and horrible. So yeah, that was somewhat of a challenge. So yeah, no, it's been a busy year for me.
Did you say it was for children, but it really isn't? Is that what you were saying?
Yeah. So the original text, the book written by Arthur Conan Doyle 130 odd years ago now, it's considered to be one of the very first detective novels, one of the very first. It's the very first Sherlock Holmes story, and yeah, they poison a dog in the story. A woman gets kidnapped, and because she won't marry someone, there's bloody, horrible murder throughout the whole book. I was given the book and said, please, can you adapt this for children? And I said to him, okay, but we're going to have to be clever here. We're going to have to work around a lot of the extremely nasty stuff that's in the original text. But they wanted a new audience for Sherlock Holmes. They wanted to start with the book published in Portsmouth. So, yeah, I think in the end we did a really good job. I worked with an artist called Russell Mark Olson. He lives in Portsmouth. And, yeah, we did a pretty good job, I think.
It's like talking about sort of kids books that aren't really kids books. Have you ever read the Silmarillion, Lord of the Rings Bible, effectively?
Oh, do you know something? I work in a comic book shop, so I consider myself to be exceptionally well-rounded in all kind of geek stuff. I'm not a massive Lord of the Rings fan.
Oh my God!
I know.
You, sir, are going to get ejected from this podcast very quickly.
All the time.
Oh,
God.
Please tell me you at least like Rogue One. So he's going to eject you right
Oh,
now.
well, that's another. This is the second question. You've got strike one here, sir. What did you think of Rogue One?
I really liked Rogue One.
That's right. You can stay. It's okay.
Mind you,
I'm not a fan of the Lord of the Rings either.
Oh, Pete, what are you doing to me, man? God, what? What are you not? Are you not a fan of the books? Are you not a fan of the films?
It's all the singing. All the singing in the bloody books. I'm skipping the pages. Or the singing again. Let's skip that page. And the films become progressively worse.
What?
The first one I love. The second one, it's okay. The third one, it keeps ending and ending and ending.
Are you fucking serious, man? You've literally got two of the best battle scenes in history in Helm's Deep and Pelennor Fields, and you're trying to tell me they're worse than the first film? The first film's amazing because it's got Boromir in it. And Sean Bean's freaking awesome.
Exactly. That entire point was a great beginning, middle, end. The story of Boromir was basically the first film. And that was brilliantly well done. And yeah, the battle scenes in the second film were brilliant. Yeah, really well done. But I started losing interest in the characters. And the third one is just, oh, God's sake, will you please just end? Oh, but they've ended. No,
granted, it does have a lot of endings, but
no, it's not ended.
But that doesn't make it a bad film. It's just,
it does.
It does. No.
It ends once, not 10 times.
I quite like. I totally agree about the endings. I don't mind the films, despite the fact my wife fell asleep during the first one. Yeah, she's like, are they still walking? Yes, they're still walking. And they're still walking. Yeah, they're still. Yeah, you've got a lot of walking.
It's like that Clerks 2 thing where it's like he's going through the.
That's spot on.
It's not spot on, and I hear nothing of it. Lord of the Rings film. It's though my mother, like my entire family, are massive Lord of the Rings fans, like to the point where my mum told me that my father, on their first date, had he had his first edition of Lord of the Rings, and he read it on their first date. That's what they did.
Wow.
And my mother who's from Oxford, and she lived in a house which was literally opposite where Tolkien is buried. You know, so you can go and see his grave and stuff. It's got little toys and things beside it where people leave like offerings to him and stuff. But my mum fell asleep during every single one of them. The rest of the family are like super into it. Like we grew up on it. If you reading it, watching the cartoon, and then obviously the films when they came out and stuff. So it's like ingrained in all of us. But my mother, who's from Oxford and resides near his grave, has very little interest in it.
You see, from a fantasy fan point of view, I utterly adore what we got from those books, what he gave us, the ideas, the concepts, all of it. From a writer point of view, I really hate linear narratives. I hate stories that are one thing follows another thing follows another. I like stories that jump around in time, in perspective, and all those sort of things. And it's just, it's a book of its time completely, and it is a beautiful piece of work. It just doesn't thrill me.
The thing is,
would you like me to go now?
No. It's just like the thing is, like the Hobbit as a book. It's a child's book, and as a kid reading it, it did grip me because it was my first sort of experience of that whole thing. But reading it back now, it's nothing, it doesn't sort of do loads for me because there's not a lot in it. It's a short story effectively. Reading the Silmarillion, and if you like sort of complicated storylines and things jumping around and stuff, then you need to read that. No, it's not. It was never completely finished, so his son had to finish it off. But it is messed up. It's like got some super messed up parts in it. Like as a book that was technically for kids. The most messed up story in the Silmarillion is basically Turin, who's the son of Hurin, and his sister. I can't even remember her name. Neonar or something like that, because I apologize, all my brethren, Lord of the Rings brethren, but basically his sister. There's a dragon called Garlrong, and he basically bewitches both of them. She runs off. The sister runs off into the forest, mad, and he gets frozen and forgets who he is. He basically goes off, becomes a bandit, meets a girl, falls in love. They have a child. He then goes and fights Galrong, and just before he kills Galrong basically turns around, freezes him, and then the girl, and I'm not going to say spoilers because if you haven't read it, then well, but turns around to the girl and says, "You see that guy who he's killed me? That's your brother, and you're pregnant." Yeah, and that's. You're pregnant with his kids, and it's like that's it. He literally he basically kind of drops the mic and goes, "That's your brother. That's the child of your brother within your belly, and I'm gonna die." And then he basically dies, and then she commits suicide. It's like
what? Happy ending.
Yeah,
Good.
it's super messed up. It's like
I tried reading the Silmarillion many years ago, and I found it incredibly dense and complex.
It is.
It was not an easy read, to be fair.
Yeah, it's more the fact that you've got it starts off, it basically creation. So you've got Iluvatar and the Inari and stuff, and then you've got it starts off with things, how they're pronounced in sort of Valinor or in the language of Valinor, and then you've got it in Elven, and then you've got it in Sindarin, then you've got it in Dwarven, then you've got it in Human, and then you've got it in Numenorian.
And at this point, I stopped reading it.
Yeah, so it's like all these different things, and
I can't see where you're thinking it's complex at all. It sounds very straightforward.
Yeah, well, it's like you have to get your head around it a lot.
There's that meme going around that the number of unique words to a particular setting is directly proportional to how physically unreadable it is.
It's not unreadable. It's just you have to. I read it a couple of times.
You have to study it.
Yeah, you do have to study it and stuff. But there's a lot to it and stuff, and it's there's a lot of depth, like super depth to it, and it's just like it's mad. It's interesting because there's a lot of stuff that sort of he sort of talks about briefly in some of the other books, and it sort of expands upon it, and so it's good. Like the Lay of Lúthien, and it even has stuff about sort of the Fellowship and stuff. It's just it's very good. It is dense. It's a hard book to read, but it's fucked up. It's a fucked up book. It's not all sort of happy clappy. This is a happy ending. It's all about betrayal and incest and death and murder and shit going down.
So modern politics.
Yeah, that sounds like a perfect story to me.
Yeah,
those are all the elements you need for a good drama.
Yeah, it's it was Game of Thrones. It was Game of Thrones before Game of Thrones.
How did you convert A Study in Scarlet into a children's story? That I want to know.
So I reread the book. I wrote down all the salient points you needed in the book to tell the story, all the things you couldn't do without. And thankfully, a lot of the unpalatable stuff for children wasn't necessary for the plot. So, I mean, for example, there's a scene where Holmes is trying to work out which of two pills are poison. To do so, he says, "Oh, downstairs have got a dog, a pug, and he's a bit not very well these days, a bit old. Bring him up, we'll feed him the poison and see if he dies."
Wow.
That's going to send your normal 9 to 11-year-old crying basically. So I literally had them drop mints into different liquids instead to see what would happen with the liquid. So I visually paraphrased all the difficult stuff. End of the day, though, I mean, kids these days, they're into Fortnite. They're into some of the stuff that you see in video games. It's far, far worse than some of the stuff of a book 130 years ago. So most of the murder, there's a scene where they open a room and there's blood everywhere. That I said to the I said to the guys who commissioned it, I said, "Are you all right with this?" And they went, "Yeah, they see worse at Fortnite." I was able to keep most of it in the book. But yeah, there was one or two things that literally I had to say, "No, I'm really sorry. I cannot put that in a children's book," and I managed to cut them out. But yeah, by and large, I think I managed to hit all the major plot points of the book. We told it from the point of view of a group of children who were doing a play, a school play of the book. So how to use that as a structure to kind of, so they're telling the play. During the play, they end up sort of, we merge the worlds of Victorian England and the play, so they kind of slip into that world. So one minute they're going along in a cart and a horse that's made of like a wooden cart on the floor. Then they slip into the world of Sherlock Holmes, Victorian England, and they're in the trap and the cart on the cobble streets. So it went down very well. It was exceptionally well received. We've had some really good reviews on it. So yeah, I was worried that I wouldn't get away with a lot of stuff I did in the book, but I did.
Do you use Kickstarter to sort of promote your new comics?
Might do.
No. Okay.
You sound cautious about it.
No, that's me being modest. I've just run my 13th Kickstarter.
Oh, wow. Holy shit! Wow, brilliant.
So, yeah, I've taken about, in total, just over £50,000 worth of Kickstarter funds for various comic books. I mean, games do very well on Kickstarter. Comic books do less.
Yeah, they do.
I have an entire shipping container somewhere full of Kickstarter games with space for the ones that they haven't sent him yet. He buys like the £1,500 option with like all 15 expansions, the solid gold extra mini.
I can't do the
the creators come round to your house and make the game in front of you.
Yeah. I can't do the if there's an expansion to something, if there's a game and there's an expansion, I can't not have the expansion. It's like one of those things, I have to have it. It's like that part inside me's going, you must have the pretty things, and it's just
you're the type of backer I really like. No, it's true. I mean, Kickstarters live and die on the backers, and I thankfully have a really good, strong following of people who buy my work, follow my work. This year alone, I've taken about 20 grand in. Mind you, at the moment, all comic book Kickstarters are taking 25-35% more money than they would normally.
Yeah.
It's partly the lockdown. People have got, their time on their hands. They want stuff to read. Partly the mainstream companies have dropped the ball a little bit. A lot of them stopped publishing during lockdown. A lot of people went, okay, well, we're turned to Kickstarter for a comic. Yeah, by and large, a comic that would normally take about $5,000 for me is making $7, $8, $9,000.
Wow.
So yeah, they're doing really well at the moment. Kickstarter is absolutely the main platform I sell on.
So, do you think it's obviously a good thing then? Kickstarter, it's good for comic book creators.
Massively so.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's gone from. I've been doing it now for 4 or 5 years now, Kickstarter, and it's gone from. It's gone from something you do to get your work out there to now it's a revenue stream. So much so that a lot of the major comic book creators who work for Marvel and DC, are now putting their work directly to Kickstarter. There's is it IDW or Dark Horse? I can't think who it was, but Keanu Reeves. You saw the Keanu Reeves book that he was doing?
No.
Keanu Reeves is writing a comic book.
All right, no way.
Yeah, they put it on Kickstarter. It took, I'm not sure the end amount, but it took serious money. And it made, and literally, and this was a major comic book company doing it, not like a small outfit like me. No, Kickstarter is now seen as a viable revenue stream for comic books.
I think it's the same with like tabletop games and stuff. Once it's a double-edged sword, especially for addicts like me, wherein that you've got this platform which literally unleashes this wide plethora of different games that you can get. Things back in the 80s and 90s growing up, the games you got were the ones you walked into the store and you found, and there was a new board game every now and again. Now there's board games and tabletop games out monthly, regularly, and it's somewhat stressful.
Basically, Steam Kickstarter is now used as a pre-ordering tool. Basically, I know Steam do it, Free League and Onyx Path all kind of say, we are going to make this game. Do you want to back us? Even though they don't have the funds to do it, they say, yeah, who wants to back us on this? And that basically acts as a pre-ordering tool. And then they release the game to full about a month after it's been completed.
Yeah,
we're having this conversation.
It's ordering system now, Kickstarter, very much so. Yeah.
What are your do you deliver your products in a timely manner, or like mine that are always late?
Okay, I've occasionally gone a couple of months over on a few books, generally because I depend upon the artists to draw my work, and sometimes the artists say I'd like a little bit longer to do a better job, and in which case I'm like, that's fine. Most Kickstarter backers will accept maybe a month, maybe two, as a slight extension on a comic book campaign. I know there are game campaigns that literally will put maybe a year, maybe more on their delivery time. I would never in a million years try anything like that. I think that's taking the piss, basically.
Yeah. Well, what is it? Yeah, Pete, you remember that game Airflix that we played?
Oh yeah, dude, that was great.
It's still not come yet, and
Jeez, that was like 3 years ago.
That was 3 years ago.
I don't know how you can take people's money and not just take decent money and then not deliver on what you've been promised.
Yeah, I think with board games, like I have yet to have anything tech wise, board game wise, that hasn't been really late, to be honest. You get every now and again you do get the odd sort of ones that come in sort of on time ish and stuff, but generally there's always some sort of issue, and it's always like deliveries coming in and from China and stuff, like the casts are wrong, or there's one of the ones I've got at the minute, one of the fantasy board games I've got, is they got all the stuff in and people got some of the lower backers got some of their stuff out, but it had mold and stuff going on it, and there was stuff, there was all kinds of things within it, and they had to sort of bring it back because and so yeah.
That makes me. My current Kickstarter, which I'm mailing out on Tuesday, is about 3 weeks late, and that makes me feel a bit better. I'm not.
Oh man, yeah, it's like
as far as I'm aware, there's no mold in the books.
You've got a new response next time someone says it's a week late. Yes, but there's no mold on it.
Yeah. Well,
we guarantee our work is mold free. We're on the cover.
Yeah, like most of the games, they don't come out for it does take about a year, so you're literally ordering for a year later, and then from that point on, there's downtime. Like I said, that Airflix, which is really good. Like the guy updates now and again. He's having problems basically because of, I think it's basically a one-man band, and he's having to do everything himself, and he's having problems with deliveries and stuff, and I'm okay to wait because I've got a million games and stuff, so it's not like I need that game straight away as long as I get it. It's not like the Hero Quest 25th anniversary that I ordered in 2015 and never got,
and the 30th anniversary is coming up.
Yeah, the 30th anniversary is coming up, to the point where now Hero Quest is coming out by Hasbro.
I don't have the same production problems. I mean, literally, I have an artist, a letterer, and an inker, a colorist, and a printer. So as long as all those people do their job, I don't have to worry about importing any models or get anything produced specifically for the game. But if you know you're going to have those issues, you factor that into your delivery time.
That's the one thing I've never sort of understood.
But you've also got like slightly different challenges, namely like the printing and production. that's going to be quite different to, isn't it?
I think what you have, the major issue you have, especially for board games, is a lot of it is produced in China because it's so much cheaper. The problem then you've got they have to send over a production copy, which takes ages, and then you look at it and they go, okay, and then it comes back, and then every time there's a delay in one of the ones I've backed, it's always been there's the printing's the wrong color, or it's slightly faded from what they wanted, or the miniature's slightly warped or something, and then they've got to send it all back, and then it's got to be redone, and then it takes months for the shipping to come through and stuff, and that's where all the massive delays come in. And so I've just accepted it. If I order a game on Kickstarter, I'm not going to see it for about a year, and then I forget about it, and then some random big box turns up on my doorstep, and I'm like, what the hell's that? And then I'm like, oh sweet, it's a gift from my previous self.
So I work in the games, comics and games. So I work for Comics, Games and Coffee in Chichester. My boss will kill me if I don't give a I'm wearing my work uniform. Comics, Games and Coffee in Chichester.
Manchester.
And we back a lot of games Kickstarters. People ask us, they say, are you going to back so and so? Are you going to get copies in? So obviously we back a lot of them, and I agree. Literally, I'll be in the shop, and 10 boxes will turn up, and I'll phone my boss and I go, "What's this?" He'd be like, "No idea." We'll open it up, and it'll be a Kickstarter from 3 years ago. That literally out of the blue turns up on our doorstep.
Yeah.
Surprise.
And what are things like for the bricks and mortar game stores now?
So right now at this very moment, it's hard because we're shut down. We can do click and collect under the rules. We can do basically what Argus does. We can mail stuff out, and people can let us know what they want, and we put it at the front of the shop to collect. But that's not good enough at the moment. We are losing thousands of pounds in revenue because we did really, between this lockdown and the current lockdown, we did okay. People realised, I mean, this is my personal opinion, but I think people realised during lockdown that things like graphic novels, comics, games, miniatures, especially Games Workshop stuff, painting miniatures, all of those things are really good if you're stuck in the house.
Yep.
If you can't get out, if you can't do anything, having a stack of books, having a stack of things to paint, really important. So when the last lockdown finished, we saw a massive influx of people coming and restocking all of their board games, all of their graphic novels, all of their miniatures. So we did okay during the period of time between this lockdown and the last lockdown. But right now, no, we can't,
Because you guys have just actually had a really good expansion period, hadn't you? You've opened up in Winchester not that long ago. You just moved into bigger premises, so you had more room. Yeah,
we're the only shop in the last 2 years in the UK to move to a bigger premises. Yeah, we had a smaller shop in Chichester. We moved to a shop 4 times the size. We moved in February, and lockdown was in March. So we were open in March. But no, saying that, I think my boss has done a pretty good job of holding it all together.
Yeah.
But as I say, at the moment, it's a nightmare because we rely on people coming into the shop and browsing and literally going, "Oh, pretty thing, I want some of that."
That's me.
I want to look at that. And we can't do that.
Yeah, it's really because there's my locals Element Games in Stockport, and I can't go in there even just to sort of look at a game. I play tournaments for Warhammer and stuff in there. I can't go in there without buying something because I'll just walk past it and go, "Holy shit, I need that." Not right now, but I could use that, and then I just sort of and it's the amount of business they do through the gaming itself and things is because people just say, "Oh, I need some glue," or "I need this," and they do loads of business, and they've expanded loads. And
we used to have Magic nights, Warhammer nights, Yu-Gi-Oh nights, Star Wars X-Wing nights, D&D nights. We literally every night we were running an event, and all of those people obviously would they buy stuff because you're in the shop. You're looking around, you're playing in the shop, you buy stuff while you're there. And I would agree, every customer who used to walk into our shop would tend to buy something because you walk into that type of shop, you want to buy something.
Yep.
And at the moment, lack of browsing. we should be okay. We should come out of. We're not going to go under, hopefully, but it's not good for any industry at the moment.
Yeah, it's bad times. Like,
Did you also kind of rent tables out as well?
Yeah. So I mean, Mark, do you remember the old shop in Chichester?
Oh yeah, the elbow room only. You could have like one game going in the front if someone didn't trip over as they came in the front door.
Yeah,
it was a proper like single wide corner shop sort of setup that went down back deep.
Absolutely, it was a corner shop size store, and basically we could fit 12 people in, but if you did, then nobody could move. And normally customers would actually walk by the store and not come in because you couldn't get in the store for gamers. The new shop, we have the back room that takes 30 people. We chose the new premises entirely for that reason. And you'll find up and down the country, lots of shops are following that model. Yeah. You have a shop that's separate from the gaming area.
It is difficult though. I mean, I don't...
Kick the nerds out the back, out the way. They don't scare the normal people.
Yeah, well,
I have a friend who... Sorry, Pete.
At the local Bolton Swords gaming store in Derby, literally just down the road from me, so that's dangerous. They've got like the front of the store with like some demo games on, quite spacious, and some like stuff to pick off the shelves. And then on the top floor above, that is all the dedicated gaming tables for the nerds.
Yeah. No, it's a really good model because you can come in, you can have your own little space, you can play. If you want, you come downstairs. Most of these places like us will offer food and drink.
Yeah.
Which is really good money for the store. And at the same time, people can still come in and browse. So we have really great new big premises that we can't use at the moment.
Oh, God,
it's a difficult time even just for that any of those sort of games shops. I've got a friend who used to run a place called Warbore up in Bromley.
Oh, I've been to Warbore a few times. It's shut, isn't
Jason. It shut down about a year or so back. And I've known him since before he got started. My day job is in e-commerce. I work with companies that do like the back end software for people that sell online. And I got to know Jason, who's the guy who was running that shop, because he was doing this stuff part time for like buying stuff in and selling it on eBay, and he couldn't keep up. He took on a shop about the same sort of concept as you had, but it had a downstairs.
Yeah, and where the gaming area was. Yeah,
no upstairs in the original shop.
Oh, okay.
It was a shop about the same size you had.
Yeah.
And it had a basement, and all the gaming happened in the basement. And there was this big old column holding everything up. So he built a Hive War gaming setup around it, like a multi-level Hive War thing for like Necromunda and stuff.
Cool.
Because he had to use that space.
Yeah.
You had to get the most. When he moved into the new shop, I went up there and helped him get going, and I did a few sort of X-Wing gaming games down there, sort of for tournaments.
Yeah,
and I remember one time.
I went to a few of the bigger X-Wing tournaments there.
Yeah. Oh God, I remember because that's kind of how I know Phil GC. That.
Oh, Phil. Okay.
But I remember one time turning up there, and this guy walked in, and he walked up to Jason and said, "Have you got this? Have you got this in?" He goes, "Yes." "How many have you got?" "I've got 6. "Yes." "Pardon?" "Yes." And he'd written his list without the ships, hoping that when he got there, they'd have them on the shelf.
Wow.
He had like 2 lists. He had the one he wanted to play and the just in case list.
He played all 6 out of the box.
Yeah, he played a swarm. It was a swarm. I can't remember what it was now. I think it was like an A-wing swarm when the new A-wings came out for the.
It'd have to be something small like A-wings or fangs or something like that. Yeah.
But no, he walked in. He had another list just in case, but the list he wanted to play was banking on him having enough of that ship.
I like that. I like the balls in that. I really do. Yeah.
But then there was another one when they brought out a new ship, and so about 8 people came in and bought 1 or 2 of them, not for the ship, but for the expansion cards.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They came in. They spent. I think it was one of the medium class ships, but they needed things. So these guys walked in and they bought and they took everything off the shelf, then they put them in their bag and they put one card into their pack to make it work.
I've got so much.
They did that anti-flight games. They produced those larger epic-sized ships with 1 or 2 cards that you could use in the main game. But it's a very clever business model that worked really, really well.
I love
I-
like
I-
the one thing I love about X-Wing and Armada is that one, you don't have to as much as I like painting stuff and building stuff now and
Yeah.
again. I love the fact that you can just play it out of the box and it looks good, and it's just sort of, it's like, as a collector, you know, I just think they're awesome to have on the shelf as well. Just sort of these little X. I've got so many. I need to get myself the conversion kits, because obviously all my X-Wings in storage at the minute. But I just, you know, I love it. I swear to God, if they turned around and they did an Armada scale version of Legion, Star Wars Legion, I'd throw all my money at it. If I could get AT-ATs and things like that, you know, and bigger sort of battles, I'd be like, just take my money, all of it. You know,
Star Wars Legion is a strange thing, because Star Wars Legion, when it came out, we all went, "Oh, this looks great," and it didn't seem to go anywhere. It almost died. Now we sell tons of it. It's really come back strong, Star Wars Legion, since they released the Clone Wars, the prequel starter one.
Yeah.
That totally fired people's imagination.
I'm
I
surprised.
don't even play it, but I want the Mandalorians.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I just think
Such nice
You
minis.
got a Clan Ren set.
Mm-hmm.
I
know.
the Mandalorians.
That's
One
what
thing-
I mean. The minis are just gorgeous minis.
They are really, really good minis, and they're doing interesting stuff as well. It's not literally just buy a pack of Stormtroopers, buy a pack of Rebel Troopers. You go onto the racks and you're like, okay, that's an interesting thing in Star Wars mythology. I can't get anywhere else. I'm going to get into the game.
Oh, God, yeah.
one thing that
All the
really,
heroes.
really frustrated me about Legions was the scale is slightly different than Imperial Assault. So I've got all of Imperial Assault. I've got everything, and I can't use any of it in Legion because the scale's slightly off.
Killed Imperial Assault dead for us. Everyone who was playing that game went over to Legion, unfortunately.
Yeah, it's annoying because Imperial Assault's a good game, but I've got loads of it, and I've got a lot of Imperial Assault. Imperial Assault Legion stuff. But yeah, if they threw it in, if they went Armada with it and started kind of doing the big battles, I'd be like, oh yeah, I'm totally in for that. I'd love it. I think it'd be amazing. But yeah,
I'm for everything the cost though, because the cost of Armada is what puts a lot of people off.
Yeah.
£90 a ship is just mental.
so beautiful.
Yeah,
so good. I love
I
it.
know.
I mean, I sold 3 of remember the Superclass Star Destroyers?
Yeah.
They were like, what, 350 quid? Something ridiculous like that. I'm like, no one's going to buy it. We got 3 of those. No one's going to buy those. They sold in like 2 days.
I've got one.
Yeah.
I've got one.
Basically, a load of me and my mates.
I've got a Super Star Destroyer.
40th birthday. And just basically all got one big Superstar Destroyer. And it's like, there you go. Happy birthday. And no, we're not playing you.
Beautiful thing.
It is beautiful. It's,
I have
you
no
know,
idea where you put it.
I don't know if I'll ever play it, but but it's like it's something you have to have. It's like they're selling a Super Star Destroyer model, something you've probably wanted all your life as a child growing up in Star Wars. Just like, yeah, I've got to have that. That's I've got to have that model. So
It's that moment where you've got your scale Death Star and you've got your scale Super Star Destroyer, and you crash one.
yeah.
Where am I heaven?
Oh man, yeah. Just but Fantasy Flight games in general just can't do any wrong. What annoys I got? What was their fantasy game?
Legends of the Five Rings.
No.
That is a very good game, though.
No, what was it called? It was basically when Fantasy Battle went like the dodo. Fantasy Flight went, right, okay, so Games Workshop aren't in bed with us anymore. We'll do our own fantasy game with bases and with dials. So it was basically like X-Wing and stuff, but it had sort of like movement arcs and things like that. And I've got loads of that as well, but I can't remember the name of it because it's all in storage and has been for ages. But it just died so quickly. I was in bringing one of the sort of war boots they have in Element Games, and they had this table full of it at half price, and I was like, what the hell happened to that? They said, yeah, they're not doing it anymore. And I was just like, but I just saw it in Games Expo being shown off, and then it suddenly just died out of nowhere, and I was just like, oh, that's the concept was really good. It was fantasy battle with guys and formations that you could do like X-Wing. You could use sort of dials and things and movement arcs and stuff to move things around. And it just died.
They did do a D&D type version, didn't they? Of of X-Men using the Flames of War.
Yeah.
The dragons and stuff. Yeah, that
Yeah.
was incredible.
Oh yeah, that was it.
Yeah, the miniatures were beautiful, but yeah, it didn't quite take off.
Also, they have done. I think last year they did do a massive restructuring where they basically got rid of all their role play development team.
Yeah, they did, didn't they? This
And they completely discanned them all.
Yeah,
They've since then created all those writers and developers then created a new production company called Edge Games, and essentially are working for Fantasy Flight Games as a freelance team. And so essentially, Fantasy Flight Games still own, for example, Legends of the Five Rings, but all the development is being done by Edge, which is essentially all the same stuff. It's just some weird restructuring.
Yeah,
there's lots of weird rumors going around about that period with everyone. There was rumors that like they'd sacked everybody that wasn't in sales and all sorts of things ricocheting around.
I didn't think I don't understand. Like the amount of Fantasy Flight stuff I have, and the amount I see people buying, it's like they can't be in trouble. I don't understand why they're laying people off.
Yeah, but my view is they have released a ton of Star Wars role-playing game, as in there's 3 editions of the game, and then there's all the associated source books, and they can't keep up that amount of release because they essentially covered just about every aspect of the Star Wars universe. What more can you do now? But then again, with the Legend of the Five Rings, that is only just starting. That's still comparatively small compared to previous editions of the game.
We had a problem with Legend of the Five Rings and the fact that everyone really liked it. It was like, oh, this looks really good, really interesting, but the release schedule was a nightmare. Yeah. They were releasing new sets every week, and in order to keep up with the release, you were dropping literally serious money every single week to keep up with the release, and it almost killed it for us. Whoever came up with that release idea, bad idea.
When Games Workshop did their collectible card game for what was it, Warhammer?
Lots of cards, was it?
Yeah.
What was it?
Something like that.
Call of Chaos.
No. Conquest, was it? Conquest.
Before they reused it for the magazines.
Yeah, Conquest. And I was just like, I can't get myself into a collectible card game because I will never be able to extricate myself. And people have warned me about Magic. And then I got in and I have spent hundreds of pounds on that game. Luckily, they've only done 3 sets of expansions. So I'm kind of, bar the last expansion, I've got some to get, but it's just like, they've slowed down. But it was getting to a point where I had literally just got a full set of the first expansion and was looking to get foils and things. And then they brought out this new one. I was like, oh man, my wallet can't take this. I don't know if we can deal with that. And it's just like, collectible card games are horrible, man. They really eat.
You've got to be clever about it, though. I mean, Wizards of the Coast at the moment are churning out so much Magic product because they know they've got the audience for it. Yeah. They know they've got a market that can sustain it, a market who will buy the Magic product that's been put out there.
Yeah.
So you're a smaller trying to break the market, flooding it with new product is not the way to go.
Yeah. No. Yeah, I mean, I remember, like, I had some mates who were really into Magic the Gathering. Really, really into, as in, they would buy retail boxes.
Oh god, that's
not cards, but just boxes, and they'd just sit there between themselves, open up a box and get out the cards and just sorting through them all, and that just looked the most joyless, lifeless.
It's a collection thing.
Yeah, so collectible card player here who's done that a number of times.
Yeah.
I just can't get it. Having said that, though,
it's incredible. You got a whole box of cards to yourself. And with a bit of luck, you get everything you want from that box, or you'll be crushly disappointed in a shit box with nothing you want.
Yep.
But trust me, that unopened box for a collectible card player is amazing.
That's a fresh unopened wrap of your favourite crack.
Yeah,
just humming at you.
It's a box of my favourite crack, okay?
Yeah.
And it lasts forever. You open the first packet, and you got 29 more of that, 35 more packets to go. So no, trust me, it's not weird at all.
Okay, I haven't said that I used to play a lot of Mech Warrior: Age of Destruction, which was a collectible miniatures game by WizKids, and I loved that. That was a really good game because it relied a lot on tactics and like combined arms rather than having the winning miniature.
Yeah.
And I was gutted when that was canned.
Yeah, I'm a HeroClix fan, and they use the same system.
Yeah.
Yeah, they use the dial system for.
Well, I've backed Mech Warriors Clan Invasion on Kickstarter, which is coming through, and it's it's hex based. It's got lots of nice, pretty mechs and stuff. And Matt Geary right here is in canon because I went to the thing where I've got my own character in the Mech Warrior universe now. Oh yeah.
Are you piloting a mech?
I'm a part of I pilot a Timberwolf, I think, and I one of the something I can't remember the name of them. It's something Hussars. I did some research on it and I've forgotten the name, but they're basically like inner sphere noblemen and stuff. So I'm basically a noble and stuff. It's really good, and my name's on a website somewhere. I'm talking about it, so yeah, it's good.
Oh dear.
Yeah, that's me. Kickstarter's just like ooh.
Well, I expect all you guys to come and find my Kickstarter now.
Well, if you send us the links and stuff, man, we will post them. Anything afterwards.
Yeah, I will make sure that
it's Mad Robot Comics.
Every time I see it from now on, I'll bounce it back across the mat and I'll wait for him to stop crying as he starts clicking back.
If you don't normally back comic Kickstarters, I'm not expecting you to do so. But yeah, just for as we're doing a podcast, Mad Robot Comics is is what I publish my own stuff under and other people's stuff. So
because you've got a newish series on the go at the moment, haven't you? You just had number 2 come out this week.
I wrote. So during lockdown, during the first lockdown, I was very bored. So I started. So I started 5 new comics. I sold 1 to Heavy Metal. You guys familiar with Heavy Metal?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So 1 to Heavy Metal, which will be published by them in the new year. I sold 1 to Marcosia, who are an English publisher. That's the one that Mark's thinking of. That's called Vehicle. Which is about killer cars. It guys watch Maximum Overdrive.
Stephen King film.
Yeah, I did. Maximum Overdrive meets Stephen King's Christine. It's all that cars. It's that combined with. I grew up with like all the kind of like the real Ghostbusters and Transformers and G.I. Joe, all those cartoons of the 80s. So it's my version of those type of cartoons of the 80s. Oh. So yeah, that's with my cozy at the moment.
Yeah. Have you found your tastes have changed during lockdown? Because I was watching Kingdom a lot, that Netflix series about a South Korean period drama with zombies. And since like COVID-19 and everything, I've not wanted to watch much stuff about killer plagues. So I just wondered if your tastes, more creatively, have changed at all during lockdown.
Just as an aside, you say that you're kind of sick of the whole zombies and killer plagues thing, but trust me, every writer I know is currently writing their quarantine killer plague story. People write what they know, and it's like, if I'm stuck in my house and can't go out because a disease is going to kill me, guess what I'm going to write about? So in 6 months, a year's time, expect the market to be flooded. Yeah. TV, films, computer games to be flooded with that type of story because people are writing at the moment what they know.
Oh yeah, because I do NaNoWriMo every year, and the last 2 or 3 months, last 6 months, everyone prepping for NaNoWriMo. And like, do you think it's going to be asking for trouble if I do a zombie thing? And everyone else is saying, yeah, that's a good point.
Everyone's got. You can't face it. 2020 has been about the COVID virus, and it's on people's minds, and people want to do their own take on it. So yeah, you're finding that. Have my tastes changed? I don't know. I mean, at the moment, I can watch every Friday morning. I can watch a new Star Trek and a new Star Wars series. I mean, for me, that's
Oh god, yeah.
heaven. I mean, what more can I ask for?
Still haven't been able. I don't have Disney Plus, so I haven't been able to watch The Mandalorian. So I'm gutted at this moment in time.
It's very good. It is very good.
No spoilers.
It's
not the way.
It's an old-fashioned, beautifully shot, beautifully acted. Don't expect anything groundbreaking for The Mandalorian, but it's a beautiful Western done in such a lovely way.
Oh, so next week's, do you know who directed next week's?
No, Bryce Dallas
Howard just did this one.
The last one, yeah.
It's the second one because she did one in the first series.
Yeah.
Next week is Carl Weathers.
Okay, interesting.
Apparently he begged Jon Favreau during the first season to let him direct one, and he said, "If we get a second series, you can do it." And so they got the second series, and he picked up the phone and said, "So, I found that episode."
I'm not a director, but I'd be intimidated because the direction on the show is one of the best things about it.
Yeah.
Those beautiful sweeping landscape shots and those beautiful close-ups. It's so stylish, so stylishly directed. So
I've still got my child sideshow collectible to turn up. Everybody else is getting theirs at the minute, and mine's delayed, and it's really frustrating me because I'm just like, come on.
Yeah, nobody calls it the child. No, every single person who comes in my shop and asks for it asks for Baby Yoda.
I've got 3 kids, and I was watching The Mandalorian, the first season, with my elder 2 because my youngest is 4, so no, not going to watch that. And I find it amazing that they're not seeing any of the memes about the child, but as soon as they saw it on screen, they went, "Oh, it's Baby Yoda."
Yoda, yeah. It turns out to be Yoda's baby. I'm going to laugh my ass off. I really will.
Oh, yeah.
Well, it's 50 years old, isn't it?
50 years old, and it's set after Yoda dies, but it could possibly be Yoda's offspring if they wanted to go that route. It's a possibility.
Oh, who knows?
Everyone's related in Star Wars. Everyone's related.
Yeah, very true.
But episode 5 will be the interesting one because that's the only one this series that's been directed by Dave Filoni.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
Now, of course, having watched the end of episode 3, we have a fairly good idea of what might be in episode 5 now.
Yeah.
Can't say anything in front of Matt, he'll cry.
Back so heavily to hit the stuff he did for Clone Wars, all the stuff that he did previously. I mean, you've just seen episode 3, I assume, with them at the Mandalorian.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a Clone Wars episode.
Oh God, yeah.
Completely in a way.
And there's that one moment we can't talk about directly in front of Matt because he'll kill me, where you just sit there and you go, yes.
God damn it! I'm gonna have to try and find it somewhere now. I'm not.
It's good, enjoyable TV. I'm not trying to criticize it. I don't get challenged by the Mandalorian. I don't sit there thinking, oh, that's a new way of doing things. But I do sit there and I do enjoy every second of it.
Yeah, it's
nothing
just
new, but it's just done very well.
It's a very well put together show. Yes.
Yeah.
It's just got that thing because there's sort of like inference to Jedis and that sort of thing, but it's not. It is a Western. It's like that's why I like Rogue One so much because it's about human being. Well, regular folk doing regular things and stuff, and sort of actual heroes who don't need superpowers to sort of make them do that. Oh, sorry, my thing's just died on me. Oh, OBS, you were going so well, and then you just died. We'll wait.
I'm going to grab a drink quickly.
He's gone back. Yeah, it's back. It was going so well. We went a full 55 minutes without OBS kind of going, no, I'm not going to do it.
I got to the point where I just sit there waiting for you to say it. I'm just like,
yeah, it was me. I kept on looking. I was like, sure, wow, it hasn't done the thing that it usually does. So
while we're talking Star Wars,
what's your background, Mark? Out of interest, I've been wondering.
That's Mass Effect. That's the Normandy, the original SRV Normandy. Plus a little bit of my room when it occasionally blurs out because Skype.
We've got the remastered versions coming out soon, don't you?
Oh god, yes!
Yeah.
I squeezed so loud that I think I broke a
Is
window.
that good or is that bad?
I think it's going to be very good because it'll be interesting to see. They're saying that they haven't put enough people on it to make it like a big change. They've just said they're polishing it, so it'll be interesting to see what they've done. The only thing that they've committed to is there won't be any multiplayer in Mass Effect 3 anymore, because obviously that's EA wanting to maintain the servers. But it will be interesting to see, especially with 1, if they make any changes to the combat style and the combat balance, because obviously 1 was the only one where you had a significant difference in how the weapons worked compared to 2 and 3, and it was more of a role-playing game than a combat role-playing game. So that is going to be interesting. Also, I don't know if anyone saw, I'm partway through watching it at the moment. Last week they live streamed on N7 Day a role-playing game, which included Mark Meer and
Jennifer Hale.
Yes.
Hale.
Based on sort of Blades in the Dark, which they called Omni Blades in the Dark. And I'm about 3/4 of an hour to an hour into the 3.5 hours or so they did. Mark Meer is a Vorchar from the Blood Pack, and Jennifer Hales is playing a Solarian scientist.
He does a lot of Dungeons and Dragons, Mark Meer. I'm friends with him on Facebook. And
yeah, but his Vorchar is hilarious. There's a thing where there's a running joke at the moment where he talks about, I'm trying to remember what he was doing. He's been reading something in as the Vorchar and doing the voices and everything, and everyone's jumping in and asking him about stuff. And because he's doing it as a Vorchar, it's yes, yes, I shot it, yes. They're supposed to be sneaking in between 2 warring parties to get something and recover something, and he's like, "I have a good idea, yes. We jump in the Mako and we drive right up the middle and shoot them all." They're scouting around, finding like passageways and stuff. He goes, "Yes, but we still jump in the Mako, right?" And he's got one of the Nerf guns that he's like one of the Nerf shotgun style, and he keeps holding it up, going, "We shoot people, yes." Oh, the guy is insane, but it's hilarious.
Yeah, he really gets into it as well. Like, yeah, we were talking about before the podcast started. There was podcast gold being laid out, so I think we should go back to that as we're talking about RPGs and stuff. So we were talking about Dungeons and Dragons and how Dungeon Masters. And Dungeon Masters should some of them should write their own books and things.
So I work in a shop, and before the lockdown, or when there's not a lockdown, we have D&D evenings. Sometimes we have multiple groups running at the same time, which is always really interesting. And I personally, I'm a big proponent of the fact that I think if you can DM, you can tell an exceptionally good story. You could write a book, you can write a comic. I mean, I see them weave stories on the go that are better than some of the things that I read in comic books or books these days. So
I find it sort of I can write a good story if I've got time to think about it. I can improvise well-ish. Especially with the group I have, Mark and Pete, who regularly test me. You've
got to keep you on your toes.
Yeah, very much so.
We haven't broken you yet. We've tried, but we haven't quite managed it.
And we've got one of our cleric, Danny, who's my neighbour, and it's her first RPG she's ever played, but she gets really, really into it to the point where like you can just watch her video stream, and she's starting to get like she's a meme. She gets so everything that happens, and she's getting like really sort of like annoyed by it or like elated by it and stuff, and keeps on doing actions and things. But I find that my best work is the stuff I can do over text messages and stuff, because I've got a bit more time to think about it and make it a bit more sort of, what I'll do is I'll write something really complicated and really well, and they'll miss it, or they'll do something completely else, and it's completely down the drain. And I just got to the point where I'm just like, I can't do that anymore, because they're not going to do what I need them to do, and I'm not the sort of guy who wants to railroad them into things. So I've
had DM say to me, so tonight we're going to reveal that this happened to this person, and then this person will do this, and then this person will find out that they slept with their brother, and that person worshipped a demon who killed her. And it's like, oh, that's amazing. That's incredible. And you watch them completely and utterly miss all the cues.
Yes, it's like all the time.
All the direction. And literally all his hard work goes to nothing. It's one of those. It's one of those things. Unfortunately, it's free will.
Yeah, well, that's it. And it doesn't bother me and stuff.
In the game without free will.
It doesn't bother me. It's just that, I can just throw stuff in, and I've got a vague idea where things are going to go. It's just that we do sort of in between stuff where we do text messages and stuff, and we've had some pretty emotional times doing it and stuff. And it's like, it's good because if they do something, you can have time to sit back and you're not having to worry about people being bored and stuff because it's over a text message, so you can really think about it and make it really interesting and stuff. And I quite enjoy that, and I quite enjoy sort of throwing in sort of like heartstring, really hitting them when they're down and stuff.
To be fair, also there's less pressure on you because we do live stream the games that we're doing, so it's not just that he has to put up with us, he's live streaming it as well, so he has that added pressure of occasionally clever people chucking in comments, or the other next door neighbor.
Who questions me all the time. She's getting very very bold at the minute, questioning.
But also her other half.
Yeah, it's just
when he's in there, she's on the stream and he's in the chats taking the piss.
So, are you guys doing socially distanced?
Yeah,
it's all over Roll20. Like Roll20 is awesome.
Discord, or how do you do it?
Discord and Roll20. So Roll20 for playing, and then Discord. We also use a thing called World Anvil, which for yourself as a comic book writer might be quite interesting. It's basically a world building tool, and I've gone deep on it, man. Like I've written and I've got maps, and you can zoom into maps, and when you go to a town, you can zoom into the town, and then you can put little points on things and write up what happened in these points, and you can do like.
Modern comic writers, I mean, Jonathan Hickman is the good example, who literally plan out everything to the minute detail. They literally, before they even put their first issue out, they know exactly where it's going to go. They know all the characters. They produce maps of cities, of islands, of different places, and no, I can't do that.
It's hard work, man. It's a full-time job.
When it comes to writing, I can't do that either. I'm a pantser to the heart of it, as they call it in NaNoWriMo, because I tried planning stuff out, and my brain starts writing the characters, and the characters go that way. It literally is just like DMing a game, except it's all in here.
There's nothing wrong with that. So 10 years ago, I did a comic course in New York with a guy called Andy Smith, one of the Marvel editors. And literally, the first thing he said, he sat us down and he said, right, there are two ways of writing a comic. You either decide where your story is going to go, beginning, middle, and end, or you let your characters decide where the story goes. And generally speaking, the second one will always give the better results. Because basically, if your character wants to go that direction, that's how the story is going to work best. That's how your readers are going to want to go. That's how the story is going to tell itself better. Yeah. So if your characters are saying, "I'm not going to do that," in your head you're thinking, "Well, my character wouldn't do that." Go the other way. Go where they take you, and that always gives you a better experience and a better story.
Yeah, I agree. I have got a vague sort of idea on how things should go from the start when I first started, because this is my first time DMing, and we haven't played Dungeons and Dragons since I was a kid. My first time doing it, I was like, because we did a one shot, and in one shot I planned everything out, and bars some certain wizards trying to fire fireballs at things and nearly derailing the entire game. That was fine. So I started doing the same thing for the campaign and found out very quickly that you can't do that. And to be honest, them doing stupid things or them doing things that you don't expect actually gives you ideas. It makes you be able to go on to things. Like a lot of the stuff that I've got now, is very much down to the fact that they've sort of gone in that direction, or they've made assumptions and went, this is what it's about. And I'm like, it wasn't about that, but it is now. And then it's just sort of, and that makes things go, because it makes it more enjoyable for them, I think, because they are going along a line that they think they should be going along. And secondly, it's just, it's like a natural evolution of the game. And I find that as well. So it's just like, yeah, I would agree to the second one.
Has anyone...
story, because the people are telling the story. The human emotions, human reactions, human feelings are driving your story forward. It becomes utterly relatable to anyone playing it or anyone watching it.
Has anyone played Mage the Ascension?
No.
Mage the Ascension. It's one of the White Wolf games. But basically, it's you all play mages, and basically that can but rather than casting spells, you can just reshape reality to your will. Now, part of that is you have an avatar, which is essentially your mystic self. And when I was running a game for about 2 years, I was using the avatar to basically nudge the players and go, you don't want to do that. You want to do this. Not all the time, but every now and then when they're doing something stupid or going in completely the wrong direction, suddenly there's a little nudge going, why not go this way? Why not do this?
Yeah. Well, I've got that in our game. Bahamut, the old man is if things are going way too off course to the point where you could end up killing yourselves, he'll maybe jump in just to sort of kind of keep you on track. I'm not too precious about your characters dying. It's just that, one, it doesn't make good watching for people if you guys are dead, and two, I don't think you should enjoy it as much if a character you've put a lot of effort into suddenly dies. So I try to sort of damage some damage limitation by having that him turn up now and again, just to sort of kind of, well, that's all well and good, but this is kind of another way you could think about it and stuff as well. And it's up to you if you carry on that way and stuff. But as you've realized, or my brother realized very recently, when he got downed and nearly got double damaged, which would have meant insta death, you've got to be very careful, because characters can die. And if you've put a lot of effort into that character, as my brother's got 5 pages worth of bio for him, I think. He's got like 5 pages, and he's got more, and he's like adding to it and stuff. And it's just like when that character, when he got hit by that character and got nearly double damaged.
Was he 1 HP short or something?
Yeah, something ridiculous like that. He literally could have died, and he went, oh shit, and he just realized it's like, right, I can't just run in and do things. I need to think very carefully now. I was like, yes.
The thing is,
yes,
as a group, you were saying about, we doing it socially distanced. I'm in Petersfield. Pete's up in Derby. Matt and Danny are up on the outskirts of Manchester. Michael is in Ireland, in Northern Ireland. We can't help but be socially distanced. The only two that cannot be socially distanced, if they wanted to be, is Matt and Danny, because they're literally the other side of a wall from each other. The rest of us, it has to be socially distant.
It's a good thing. Roll20 is a good tool. It's a bit temperamental at times. The dynamic light's frustrating because it's an amazing concept. It just doesn't work very well. It slows your computer down and stuff. But for the game itself, it's such a good idea, and it really I think I would run it, even if I was with people, I'd probably have Roll20 there as well, simply because I think it's got quite a lot of functionality and stuff. Plus, I've bought so many of the compendiums now that, it's just so much money. I've got the new one, obviously. Tasha's comes out tomorrow, I think, or Tuesday, I think, Monday or Tuesday.
It's been delayed in Europe.
What? Well, I'm not sure if that for digital.
Which is Tuesday. We're not getting it until December.
I'm not sure if that works for. Is that physical copies?
Physical copies, yes.
Yeah, because I've got the compendium, I think, for
Are
Roll20.
you getting Cyberpunk Red, the core rulebook?
Say again?
Are you getting the Cyberpunk Red core rulebook?
No idea.
Okay.
I don't do a lot. I don't do a lot of the ordering. I just know stuff that is not going to be turning up, because I've had people come in and ask about Tasha's Cauldron and literally saying, "When's it out?" And I'm like, "I'm really sorry." It's been delayed in Europe.
Yeah, unlocked on November 17th, 12 p.m. CT. So
You'll get the digital version, but yeah, if you want the physical version, you're going to have to wait, unfortunately.
By the way, this is my co-star, one of my co-stars. This is Tally, and her brother is Rex, in case you hadn't guessed that I'm into Mass Effect.
Flipping it in and out of existence at the moment. Keeps on going
because she's black.
into the back. Yeah.
Because she's black and it's matching and pattern matching. If she stays still for a moment, she disappears. The best one was about 6 months ago. There was a Zoom call we were doing, and I was trying out. I forgot I'd been trying out the background matching for that, and I set it to black. And she jumped up on the desk while I was in the middle of the call, and all they could tell was suddenly there was this cat-shaped background thing in front of me, and then she turned around, and literally all they got was a cat-shaped blob with an arsehole. Because it was the only thing that wasn't black, and that was interesting. Luckily, they were understanding.
And you're just basically stroking nothing at the moment. It's
It's disconcerting.
Yes.
She's very much a case of she's my cat, whereas Rex is all over her his mum, but she is very much affection on her terms when she demands it, not when she asks. When she demands.
That must be a black cat thing, man, because my old black cat, she was the same. She was very much a case of, you'll stroke me when I let you stroke me. Otherwise, I'm going to scratch the shit out of you.
But these two are from the Cat and Rabbit Rescue down near you at Sidlesham, Matt?
All right.
Yeah, Sidlesham, that's not far from me, yeah.
So we went down to have a look in there, right? And we went in to see these two. And I got down on my knees to say hello to her brother. And the next thing I knew, she was on my shoulder. I just had this strange sensation as she went up the back of my leg, up my back, and sat on my shoulder and said hello. I was like, I guess you've been chosen then.
You have been chosen. Yes. So, is there any sort of area of comics that you haven't done that you would sort of kind of like to go?
No, I mean, I really wanted to write a sci-fi book. And I wrote the heavy metal story that comes out next year is heavy sci-fi. I'm a massive Transformers fan.
Right.
And the sci-fi story I wrote for heavy metal is all about robots. So I got to get that out of my system. Oh, what's that? Bring it back.
That's pipes.
Oh, poor little pipes.
I've got almost all of the mini bots. I think I'm missing a couple of the limited run ones.
You see,
the excuses.
Of More Than Meets the Eye by a writer called James Roberts. He wrote a comic called More Than Meets the Eye.
I've read it, but I at one point had all of the original UK run, and I had most of the Gen 2. And I dip in and out.
Was IDW. It was run for just over 7 years, I think. And for me, if I could write half as good as the stuff that James Roberts did, but he killed Pipes very, very brutally.
Oh,
Pipes was stomped into the floor until he was dead. So when I see Pipes, I'm like, it's Huffer as well. There you go. Yeah. No, so my heart goes out to Pipes. But no, massive Transformers fan. I really wanted to write a robot story. I got to write a futuristic very hard sci-fi, no humans, hard sci-fi concepts robot story. It's called Cyberarchy. Comes out next year. Is that Swerve? I can't properly. That's
wow. What? Like every time Transformers, I just get the Transformers cartoon music. Transformers.
Outback.
Yes, I managed to get hold of an Outback with the gun.
That's how.
There's so many options.
Yeah. Stop testing me. I prove I'm a Transformers, but I can identify your Transformers.
Oh man!
So did you watch the films, the live action films?
There weren't any.
Pardon?
There weren't any films.
Did you like?
That's true.
I don't know what you're talking about. I like Bumblebee. Good film.
Yeah.
I haven't seen Bumblebee yet. The first one I thought was okay. It was just good to sort of
The first half of the first film was all right.
Yeah, I did like the Scorponok attack against the Marines. I thought that was very well done when they did not know what was going on.
I'm sorry, I'm not a fan of the Michael Bay Transformer film.
Yeah,
that's fair. How about the new Netflix series? What do you think of the new Netflix series, though? The first part
of Siege.
Yeah.
I quite enjoyed Siege. It was really depressing. Everyone speaks really slowly about everything and everyone's so dramatic all the time. There's a lot to like about Siege, but there's also a lot to hate about Siege. I had mixed feelings about Siege. I really liked Transformers Prime, which was the 2 shows ago. That's a very, very good show. Mm-hmm. And Transformers Cyberverse, which was the previous one, the first 2 years were for kids. The third year, and this happens quite a bit, the third year, it's like nobody's kind of watching the third year of a children's TV show. So the writers are like, okay, nobody's watching us. We can do what we like. And they literally did this whole big deep dive into Transformers mythology. And the third year was an amazing show. And it happens a lot in TV shows that they've sold the toys. All the toys have sold. The company behind it are like, yeah, third year, go and have some fun. And you get some really good kind of shows out of it. So third year of Cyberverse, really, really good. But yeah, Prime was okay, but God, was it depressing.
I'm pretty easygoing when it comes to films and stuff. And I've only ever turned off 2 films. One of them is Alexander, because the history person side of me just couldn't deal with it anymore. That Alexander the Great had an Irish accent, and that Philip of Macedon had an Irish accent because Val Kilmer thought he would put an Irish accent on for some reason. So I stopped watching that. The only other film that I've ever stopped watching was Transformers The Last Night. I just kind of went, this is the biggest pile of shit I have ever watched, and I'm easygoing when it comes to films, and I was just like, I can't watch this anymore, and I just stopped watching it. It is just so bad. I was just like, yeah.
I've never seen it.
Yeah, it's bad.
That's a good thing.
I got about halfway through the third film and I went, I can't. I love something. When you love something that much and it's been reduced to explosions and flippy bits of metal that fall apart, you're just like, I can't. I'm really sorry. There are very few things I hate. I think I can find any kind of narrative, any kind of geek product, I can find something I love in it. There are so few things I hate. And I'm really sorry, but Michael Bay films are just one of those.
Yeah.
I kept going back and hoping, and I kept walking out going, why did I do that to myself?
I did the third one. I hate the first one. Actually, I didn't mind too much at all. The second one, I really hated. I thought, no, aberration. Third one, they pull it back, and I got halfway through the third one. I went, I just can't. These are not Transformers. The Transformers have no personality. You don't care about them. There's nothing going on that interests me in the slightest. And I'm sorry. I couldn't get on with it. Saying that though, Bumblebee, I really enjoyed the most recent. I really enjoyed that.
Is it a retcon? Is it a retcon? Is it a prequel? How is it?
Initially, they were going to have it be tied into the Michael Bay movies. It was meant to be a prequel to the Michael Bay movies. It was a massive success, and they've gone, let's just distance it from So now it's apparently set in its own continuity. It's a separate thing now.
Okay. All right. I haven't watched it yet. I need to watch it and stuff. But
and you're wrong.
Very, very like the first Transformers movie. It's almost, you could see it being like almost a remake of the first Transformers movie. All the things you love in that movie are in Bumblebee.
But it's better.
It's better.
All right. I'll give that a whirl then. I might watch it with Gosha later. Actually, we're sort of going through. We were watching. What did we watch recently? A Trial 4 on Netflix, which is really good if you like your real crime sort of thing. And the unnatural selection is insane. They literally heal a kid's eyesight. He's pretty much blind. And with gene therapy, they make him see again. It's just like, that's insane, absolutely mad. So yeah, that's something you should watch if you like your sort of science and stuff on Netflix.
Oh, there.
Yeah. Right. Okay. Been about an hour and 20. So yeah, I think that's a good place to leave it. Matt, websites, general promotion, go.
So while I'm sitting here, my wife is dropped graphic novels next to me going, mention them. So can I hold up?
Yep.
That's what we were talking about earlier. That's the adaptation of A Study in Scarlet, directed for an all ages audience.
Yeah.
Art by Russell Mark Olsen. That's Helen Stalingrad, a book I co-wrote with a chap called Rob Jones. Art by a guy called Russell McEwen.
Yeah.
That's basically like a Commando type comic book.
Oh, awesome.
With lots more blood and lots more demons. So it's a war story. That was one of the most recent Kickstarters I did. I've got a book on Comixology at the moment called Vehicle. Second issue of that is out. If you go to www.madrobotcomics.com, all my past work, all my other comics that I've written in the past are on there.
Brilliant. The links.
I'm on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, all that kind of nonsense. Either under Mad Robot Comics or Matt Hardy.
If you fire over to Mark, or even in the chat on Skype, all the links, I'll fire them in the descriptions to the videos, and when it goes live on Spotify, etc. So it's on there. Okay, well, it's been an absolute pleasure. I'm glad that that you like one thing out of the two main things. You do the Star Wars, you're not so much the Lord of the Rings, but it's okay. It's all right. Well,
I really enjoyed Rogue One. I mean, admittedly, I saw it. One of my best friends got married, and then the day after he got married, he rented a cinema out, and he took the person who turned up for the wedding into the cinema to watch Rogue One.
Oh, what a legend! What a guy!
So but I've seen it since then as well, and yeah, I still can't believe that Disney let them kill him all. I still utterly cannot believe it.
Yeah, it's a war film, man. And it's just like, it was a beautiful way to end.
It actually does it in space, absolutely. And but still, it's Disney. I can't believe Disney let them kill them all. So,
but they had loads of room, haven't they? They were Cassian Andor coming with a prequel series to Disney Plus, apparently.
Oh yeah, they'll always find a way to bring him back in some way.
Yeah. They wrote the end of their lives. They just want to prequel it now.
I just hope they make it slightly dark, because Cassian in that he's a dark character. It's none of this, and this was, I have said this numerous times on this podcast, that this is going to be another hour's conversation. By the way, we were going to finish the podcast, but this is happening now, so this is going on. But Cassian in Rogue One is a very dark character, which is why it's a good film, because we've got this whole evil, the Empire is evil and the rebels are this whiter than white good, but this gives it a dark edge that they've done stuff that maybe isn't really good. They've done things for the greater good, and it's like what a rebellion probably is. It's like they've had to do horrible stuff that meets an end, and I love that, and I like there being a sort of a double edge to the sort of kind of the whole thing.
Yeah, by the means thing, isn't it? It literally is. We do what we have to do to mean that we see another day, and the Empire doesn't win.
I would love to see a film which was on the side of the Empire from a different point of view and stuff. Like there's a lot of there's some canon stuff, old canon about it. We talked about it, about how the Death Star was there to stop the Young Vac. Is that what they were called? Young Vong, yeah, from invading, and because that happened, that there was billions of people were killed, billions of lives were destroyed, more than the Galactic Civil War, because the Death Star was there to stop them from invading. I like some of the sort of YouTube fan films they've made, which are sort of they're sort of done in stormtroopers. So it's like stormtroopers rebels have killed their family, and they're fighting it for the Empire because that's what they would do, because the rebels have decimated their lives and stuff. And I like that sort of edge to it. I like the fact that there is another side to that coin, and I wouldn't mind them doing something like that.
They touched on a little bit in Resistance, didn't they? But with it was later on. They touched on that a little bit, where they had one of the main characters move across and start training as a TIE fighter pilot. So they got that flipped coin thing there, didn't they, with the Resistance?
Yeah, and I like that. I think that this is coming from a guy. I love complicated things like Game of Thrones and stuff where things flip and it's not black and white. I like that. So,
Have you guys read any of the Marvel Star Wars comics?
Oh man, the bit where where Darth Vader is standing and he's just like, "You're surrounded. All I'm surrounded by is fear and dead men."
So later in that series, Kieran Gillen, the writer Kieran Gillen, so he's writing.
No! Just when we're getting interested, damn you, OBS, damn it! Let's see what happens. I'll give you 4 more seconds.
Books, and he actually picks up a load of threads from Rogue One. So he has Luke go back to what's the planet? Not Crate. What's the planet that the city gets destroyed in Rogue One?
Yes.
Yeah.
We know what you mean.
Yeah, he goes back and he visits the remains of Saw Gerrera's cell, and you even get the reason why Rogue Squadron is called Rogue Squadron, because it's named in honor of Rogue One as well. So he picks up a load of the Rogue One plot threads in his Star Wars run. I'd really recommend picking his run up.
I'm totally not looking at that at the moment, honest.
Like I've never been a massive comic. I started doing comic collection when I was younger, but then I couldn't keep on top of it, and because I lived in the sticks, I getting access to sort of comics in Northern Ireland where I was extremely hard, so I just stopped. I've still got some of the Crimson Empire stuff, the Dark Horse Crimson Empire stuff. I love the whole Imperial Knight type aesthetic. That was really good, and the sort of what was it? The Fell Empire? Was it the Fell Empire? Which is basically after Palpatine.
Yeah, in the far future, with one of Jagged Fell's sons or something.
Yeah, so and I like that sort of thing. But yeah, I'm definitely I've read some of the Darth Vader ones because my mate has collects comic books quite religiously and stuff. So yeah, I think I might have to go there.
Very good. Vader standing on the deck of a Star Destroyer, finding out that Luke is his son. And watch as the screens of the Star Destroyer the windows slowly start to crack. He doesn't move, he just stands there as the realization that he's been lied to his entire life comes upon him. You just watch the cracks appear in the windows as his frustration takes over him. It's a magnificent moment.
There's a lot of sort of kind of poignant moments in those. I think, is there one where he's faced with C-3PO and there's sort of like it might be in a different run. I remember seeing some panels and it was basically Vader with C-3PO. And there was that sort of the inference that, he does know who C-3PO is because obviously he created C-3PO and stuff. And I'm going to have to try and find it now. But
while we're talking Star Wars, did anyone want to talk about the that little leak about the George Lucas intentions for the third trilogy?
Oh, yeah, about Leia being...
I never read it. I saw the link. I never got round to it. What was he going?
So apparently he was going to focus the third trilogy more on Leia. So he was going to go with the idea that Anakin was the focus of the first trilogy, Luke and trying to recover the Jedi Order and defeat the Empire was the second one, and the third one was going to be Leia coming into her own, trying to rebuild the
totally up for
Republic.
Yeah. Totally up for that.
While Luke was going to be in the background because he was going to be obviously chasing around trying to do the Jedi side of things. So that it was definitely going to be more of a focused on her up front and actually having the machinery of the Republic coming into being because she was driving it forward and dragging people with her.
Yeah, I'm not a massive fan of the prequels. I think Lucas really shouldn't have directed any of them. But there's some great ideas in the prequels. He just shouldn't have written or directed any of them. But yeah, I'd have been up for that totally. I really would. more than what we got, to be perfectly honest.
Yeah, we've discussed this at great length, and luckily John Joe's not here, so he and I disagree. But
the asked me about the new Star Wars films. I'm very glad you didn't.
Yeah, well, that is a Pandora's box that could literally lead us in. And
that's 3
hours. You know what?
Why
not? Why not? We've opened it up slightly already, and we've probably talked about this with nearly every other guest who's been into Star Wars, so why not? So, the last 3 films, general views.
I liked The Force Awakens. I thought it was treading a lot of old ground, but it had potential. I thought the loading new characters. I thought, this could be the ground floor of something really good. Last Jedi, I thought was a really good film, but a really bad Star Wars film. I thought it was a film full of clever ideas, not really what needed to be done for Star Wars at that point. I like the ideas, I like the directing. I really like the fact that he looked at the whole concept for Star Wars and went, okay, there are things here that are a bit pompous. Let's play around with them a bit. But I don't think it served the story from the first film at all well. And I thought, God, I've drawn a blank on Rise of Skywalker. Sorry, I've drawn a blank on I thought Rise of Skywalker was an absolute fucking mess.
What? Really? Wow. Okay.
Yeah, I did. I'm sorry. I thought the other day, I was trying to remember what bits I liked in it. And the only bits I can remember that I liked in it was the bit where he switches the lightsabers round and the bit where the Falcon does all the jumps through the different, the hyperspace jumps. Oh, yeah. I honestly, to be perfectly honest, I thought that it was an impossible job, Rise of Skywalker. Yeah. There was so much to tie up, so much to do, so much expectation on that film. But I honestly thought that he didn't give a single character a decent ending.
I think he had to do a lot of firefighting from the last one. I thought there was a lot of firefighting from The Last Jedi.
The first half of The Rise of Skywalker was basically J.J. Abrams trying to get the plot back onto the course that he originally envisioned. Yeah, after
totally, but you can't do that in a major.
Well, to be honest, it should have been 2 films, because then you would have had the time and the space to kind of tell the story he wanted to. Furthermore, the entire sequel trilogy massively suffered by the fact there was no set down game plan of like, this is what the first film's going to be, this is what the second film's going to be, and this is what the film goes. There was nothing, no structure to it, and that's what it needed.
Wing it, and by winging it, they could create something kind of clever. But you can't do that when you've got such high expectations on a film. Did you guys like Rise of Skywalker then? Did you guys like Rise of Skywalker?
Rise of Skywalker for me was, I know there's flaws in it, but for me, it was the end of a journey that I started as a child with my father watching, the trilogy, and it was literally, for me, it was quite emotional because it was just the end of a chapter in my life. And so there was there was parts in it which I could criticize, but it justified certain parts within the Last Jedi, which made me happy because there was a lot of things about The Last Jedi I didn't like. I liked the fact that what they did with Leia, with Carrie Fisher's character, because initially I thought she the Mary Poppins thing from Last Jedi was fucking blasphemous. I was just like, what are you doing? Mm-hmm. And then obviously they justified that in The Rise of Skywalker, but I'm kind of glad they kept her around and they gave her a good ending. I love the fact that Chewie got a medal. I love the fact that finally Chewie got a medal. People don't realize this. In the first film,
don't give a medal for the Wookiee. We're racist.
Everybody got a medal. He's a sentient creature, and he did just as much as they did, but he didn't get a medal. And I like the fact that he got a medal and stuff. I like the way they did it with how Leia, died. The bit with Harrison Ford, which was completely unexpected, with Han Solo coming back.
Like that.
It teared me up slightly because it was just like, and it was just sort of, the whole thing was just like, it was an end, and it was a bit ridiculous at the end with all the Star Destroyers and the Earth.
But this is like the final film, the conclusion of a 9-film epic.
Yeah,
you wanted something bombastic. You want something completely
exactly, and that's what
because it is Star Wars.
Yeah, and that's what we got. And you had you had Wedge was there. You had flying the Millennium Falcon. You had lots of little sort of little nods to things, and it was just like it was like a swan song for the franchise. And bar my mother falling asleep as she generally does in these things, she insists to come with us to watch them but falls asleep. But me and my sister and my brother, who again were brought up in Star Wars, we teared up. It was a good end, and for me, it wasn't like The Last Jedi where I couldn't forgive certain things, especially the way they portrayed Luke. I think they made Luke into somebody I personally didn't think he was. And I know there's lots of justifications of why he was doing it, but, there's counter arguments to that, because it's just like, Obi-Wan wasn't like that, and Yoda wasn't like that, and blah, 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 blah. But I accept there are arguments for it, but for me, that wasn't who Luke was, and that is who he shouldn't be, and... Whereas this one, it had little bits and pieces that were a bit ridiculous, and it was, and Baba Frick, it wasn't, things like that. But it was an emotional thing for me, and that's why I thought it was really good. It was a good ending. I didn't come out of it sort of going that was shit or that was okay. I came out of it emotional and kind of going, well, yeah, that's how I kind of wanted at the end, and that was good for me.
I'm glad to hear that. Actually, I'm glad to hear that you felt it was kind of a good end to the whole Star Wars saga. And I've got to be honest with you. I agree with what you're saying there, but you've also got to view it as there's 3 films there that, for some people, are their first introduction to Star Wars.
Yep.
The characters of Rey and Poe and Finn, they got no real kind of resolution, no real kind of ending at all in that film. It was almost like they were pushed aside. I mean, Rey gets some ending, but the rest were pushed aside.
Finn was pretty much sort of sideline, like
in a sense, Finn's story ended at the end of the second one, because when he confronts Captain Phasma and defeats her, and she goes scum, and he goes, no, rebel scum. That was the end of Finn's storyline, really.
Yeah.
It's
a real shame. I would have liked to have seen, if you're going to introduce those characters, give us a story about those characters.
Oh, God, yeah. They felt like they were supporting the swan song of the characters that the writers knew and loved, rather than being there for their own purpose. They were there to do the stuff the old people couldn't do.
Absolutely.
And to be thrown into the mash, thrown into the thing, and be thrillingly, scarily almost dead without risking the really valuable characters almost.
As we've all said, there was just too much to do in that end film. That was the problem. You couldn't give them their ending and give Leia her ending and give everyone else their ending. There was just too much to do in that whole film.
They should have split the film at the point where Rey confronted Kylo Ren on the remains of the Death Star. Just end the film after that battle and then have an entirely new film.
Yeah. And I'm sure they would have said no to the money as well that they would have produced.
Yeah, but you wouldn't be getting, it's a trilogy, isn't it, and stuff, so,
But part 1, part 2.
Yeah, you want a trilogy, you have to deliver a trilogy, but I'm sorry, I agree. I think more space to tell those stories would have been better.
I think, as an avowed pantser, as someone who tends to run space first into writing something and hopefully comes out the other end alive, it really did demonstrate that certain things need to be put in place with someone in charge and a basic structure, and then good writers and directors within it to make it work.
On TV shows, you need someone there to go, I don't care what you do in the middle, but here's my beginning, here's my middle, and here's my end. You need to hit these points. What you do in between is fine, but you need, but that wasn't there for those 3 films.
To be fair, I was probably ruined by growing up with Babylon 5, to be fair.
JMS knew his stuff.
Well, we saw the complete inverse of that with the Battlestar Galactica, where Ronald D. Moore did not have a series Bible. And you could tell that by the
ending to Battlestar Galactica, which I love. Battlestar Galactica.
the
last two seasons are fucking
really
dog. Oh, come on, man. Oh, you're killing me, OBS. This is where we're getting to the interesting stuff. Ugh.
This is what it is. When we get really interested in stuff, that's when OBS fucks up.
Yeah,
It's
well,
like an emotion thing, isn't it?
I just said that, literally.
Hey.
I just went, I was like, just when we're getting into interesting stuff, that's when you decide to cut off. But yeah, Battlestar Galactica, last season especially, was absolute tripe.
It was the first season was fantastic. Second season, very good. Third, yeah, it was okay. I enjoyed it. Fourth, especially fourth was just downhill all the way, and especially the final half of it. And it's tough because they did not have a series Bible. They did not have plan points. They were just kind of flipping characters.
Every show started off with that thing that the Cylons have a plan, and it's like, no, they
obviously don't.
Absolutely didn't.
Yeah, the whole sort of like we're trying to get the Earth, and we can't because it's destroyed. Oh, we'll just call this place Earth 2, and oh my god, because we're called Ares and things like this, we're the gods and blah blah blah.
That show promised so much, and it had so much promise. It started off so well, and it's so much potential.
The first season was perfect.
An awesome cast, and when they were confident in what they were doing, things like 33 right back at the beginning of series 1, so tight and so driven. And such a simple concept. And then as they kept pushing outwards, you started to feel them getting a bit, shit, what do we do now? What do we do with this? We'll grab something else. We'll try something else. We'll move it forward. But they didn't know what they were moving it towards because they just had this vague thing.
Yeah.
Though at least they didn't go Galactica 1980 on us. That would have been scary.
Oh, man. Yeah. Right, okay, we will finish it here. We will end it once we've got over the Star Wars hump. Matt, I really appreciate your time. It's been super interesting, and good luck with the Kickstarters. I'm going to try my best not to get sucked in, though. If you see Geek Pride has backed your thing, then yeah, that's me basically. So.
Thank you for having me, guys.
I really appreciate it. So for tonight, I've been Matt Geary. With me has been Peter Ray Allison.
Stay safe, everyone, and look out for each other.
Mark Canty.
Take care, people.
And Matt Hardy. Sorry, Mark Hardy. I was going to call you Mark Hardy there for a minute.
He's a wrestler, isn't he?
Yeah. Night all. Bye.